Since day one, it has been Greg Kading's job to distort the truth. Since day one. Now, here you have the screening of a Tupac documentary called Tupac Assassination, Conspiracy or Revenge. The first one came out in 07, the second in 09. I believe this is the first one where they did an open Q&A session. Just listen to Kading as he exposes the role he has always played in both Pac and Biggie's death.
Up and down in Las Vegas was that there was a lot of mistrust with local law enforcement in Los Angeles, particularly Compton PD. Right. You've got Reggie Wright employing Compton police officers working death row. Vegas was not sure who to trust, not sure whose team people were on. We've been able to bridge that gap here in LA, and I'm hoping that maybe through Frank or some type of networking setup, we can take leads, take clues that you might have, and share them with Las Vegas, but also use that information here in Los Angeles. Obviously, this is where death row is based. Secondly, one of the problems here is there's a lot of reference going on to the FBI or the feds, but you got to remember that this is not a federal investigation. This is basically isolated to Las Vegas. It's an isolated murder, and the feds don't have any authority within it. So the federal agencies are not going to just take over a murder investigation unless it's part of a much broader investigation. And Frank, I'm asking you here publicly, will you entertain an interview?
Publicly right now, for the record, yeah, I will talk with you. Kevin Hackey just walked up here, who was my replacement. He was the backup bodyguard to Tupac. He obviously has something he wanted to say.
I'll interject what you're saying. First of all, I'm a retired police officer. I was the undercover agent for the FBI for 4 years for Death Row Records in regards to racketeering investigation. The Federal Bureau of Investigations did take over the investigation approximately about 20 minutes after Tupac was shot, which is a matter of public record. There's even on record, which is on the 9th, that the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police attempted to detain me. An agent by the name of Dan McMullen, who was my supervisor, contacted the Metropolitan Police Department at about 9 o'clock on September 9th. There was a whole slew of people in front of the hospital. Metropolitan Police car pulled out. I was the only guy, I arrived in Vegas that morning, that went to the police station, identified myself. I was given authorization to carry a firearm, which I still do have all the paperwork. Obviously, that came from higher up beyond Las Vegas Police. My supervisor was Dan McMullen, the FBI Wilshire office. Dan is, I believe, now in Seattle, which you can verify. John Ciccione, the ATF agent, was also my supervisor. My job, as I said, was to infiltrate death row for racketeering violations. There was another officer from Long Beach PD who worked undercover. Subsequently, Reggie Wright was my partner. I've known Reggie for many years. Based upon that, that's why I was called in to do this investigation. Okay, but what you basically just said, the FBI did take over the case. And obviously, as most of you do know, there is no statute of limitations on murder. Sooner or later, there will be an arrest.
And the most important part is coming up right now. This is where he admits the real role he played in Tupac and Biggie's murder investigation.
I was aware of all that. I didn't want to front you off. I was aware of all that. I didn't want to front you off. I was aware of all that. I didn't want to front you off.
You've been fronting yourself off ever since you took this investigation on. Kick rocks, Kading.
Okay. But nonetheless, you do have to understand, the FBI does not have jurisdiction over a singular murder. Okay, I'm explaining this to you so you know. Okay, they were looking at something much broader.
Let me correct you on one thing, okay? Tupac Shakur was a suspect in a racketeering investigation.
There's the key word.
So at that point in time, it became federal jurisdiction.
Okay, you clarified that that's the key word.
Yet people still reach out to Kading for interviews every time something happens with the Tupac murder, man. It's crazy, man. This man is not to be trusted. Since day one, all he's ever tried to do is divert the attention away from the truth, which has something to do with the police killing Tupac. I really, really do believe this, all right? I hope these words resonate in whatever little conscience you may have left.
So bitch man niggas come from bitch all ours. I don't care who the fuck you touch me on that shit. I know you motherfuckers didn't think I forgot. Yeah, no, I ain't forgot, nigga. I just remember what you told me. You said don't rule the war unless I got the money